Perfect. Thank you so much.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it's working. Can I get you guys to try your mics as well, please? Pierre and Alex, just check that the mic is working. Pierre, can you please check your mic for me? Make sure the mic is working before we get started.
Test.
Yeah. Hello, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's my delight to be here. My name is Yemi Oluseun. Can I please ask people to just move forward a little bit, if it's possible, just so it feels a lot more cozy? If it's possible to move a bit closer, I would really appreciate it. But otherwise, welcome again. It's great to have you here. My name is Yemi Oluseun. I'm a Fintech growth consultant based here in Dubai. It's my delight to be moderating this session. We're going to be talking about embedded loyalty and how to identify key differentiating factors in setting up the right program and rewards for your businesses. We have 45 minutes together, and the intention of this session is to give you practical, actionable insights that you can then take away back into your businesses and set up embedded loyalty programs in your organizations. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce the panelists today. We've got like two very highly accomplished loyalty and retention experts with us. Starting closest to me, we've got Pierre, Dr. Pierre. Dr. Pierre Kirisçi is the founder and CEO of Redimi. Dr. Kirisçi is a technology enthusiast through and through, with a track record of 23 years in coordinating and managing industrial technology projects. Pierre has a PhD in production engineering and has been active in the blockchain and AI space since 2017. Pierre founded Redimi in 2022 to introduce distributed ledger technology, DTL, based loyalty solutions in retail and travel sectors, making loyalty applications more flexible, cost-efficient, and profitable for the retail and travel industry. Welcome, Pierre.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you, Yemi.
And then we also have Alex with us. Alex is the head of customer research and insights at Zappos. Alex is an experienced customer research professional and customer experience leader. He applies his experimental social psychology background and passion for research, design, and innovation to solving important customer and business problems. His professional career spans 20 years in different industries, ranging from insurance to personal finance to business and retail. Alex's goal is to help teams create remarkable products and services, which makes people's lives better, easier, and more enjoyable. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Yemi.
Can we please give a round of applause to our panelists, please, guys? Thank you. Thank you. Before we get started, I had a question to ask the audience, if that's okay. Can I, just by show of hands, does anybody's organization already have embedded loyalty programs? Do we already have anybody that has a program in their organization? Nobody? So gift cards or loyalty, this is great. So we've got Virgin Territory here. Great, so it sounds like we're going to be giving value here to people that are going to hopefully go back and implement it in their organization. So let's kick off with you, Dr. Pierre, then. Can you give us an example of an innovative or an effective embedded loyalty program you've either implemented or you've seen work in an organization?
Well, yes. I mean, we are currently involved in implementing digital loyalty solutions, particularly for the retail customers. But I think, first of all, it makes sense to define embedded loyalty, maybe so the customers get a better understanding.
Absolutely.
So embedded loyalty program is, in my point of view, a loyalty program that where instruments such as rewards, tokens, coupons, discounts become an integral part of the customer journey or the interaction with the retailer. I also see another aspect or another perspective, not only the end user, but the business customer who is operating the loyalty solution. For an embedded loyalty program, I also include that it is necessary that a loyalty solution has to be seamlessly integrated in a frictionless manner with the legacy solutions, with the legacy system of the retail customer. So we are currently in the process of, we have actually created and designed at Redimi a digital gift card and couponing platform tailored for the retail landscape. And we are currently introducing that embedded loyalty solution in different shopping malls and retail chains in Germany. Yeah.
Amazing. No, thank you for giving those examples. That was really helpful. Alex, do you have anything to add in terms of examples of embedded loyalty programs?
Sure, Yemi. Just before I do that, I'll share with the audience how we got in touch, and I got invited to speak at this panel. And I told Yemi, first thing I told her, I'm not a technologist, I'm a psychologist, and then I don't work directly on a loyalty program. So why do you have me here? But what we agreed to do is for me to provide a perspective from like a psychological perspective of what loyalty is, and to give some examples of how we get to know our customers at Zappos. And I want to build on what Pierre was saying, stepping back and defining what loyalty is. I'll provide, I think, a complementary perspective, which is loyalty is not technology. Loyalty is not even a program. I think it would be misguided to think of loyalty as a program. Loyalty is a state of mind. So to me, if you approach it and think in terms of how our customers experience your product, loyalty means having customers that when they're asked who's your favorite shoe and clothing retailer, they say Zappos, right? Off the top of their heads, they say, Zappos is my favorite clothing retailer. And not only that, they love the product. They use the word love. I love Zappos, right? But they also shop a lot on Zappos. Not only that, they recommend Zappos to others. So that's the idea of the Net Promoter Score. If you're familiar with the Net Promoter Score, it's a measure of loyalty. So that's how I would start the conversation, saying loyalty is, when we think about what we're solving for, is we're solving for the state of mind. We're not solving for points. We're not solving for, these are the tactics. So that's how I would kick it off.
No, I love it. I love the perspective. By the way, guys, we have a very balanced panel here because Alex is going to come in from a psychological perspective and Dr. Pierre is going to be talking from a more technical perspective. So we've got two angles that we're going to be covering, so it's great. But back to what you said, Alex, actually, this was great. So it sounds like to build loyalty and build evangelists of your customers, right? So they go from being customers to then being strangers to customers and then hopefully evangelists. You have to get to know the customer, and on a psychological level is what I heard you say. And beyond, say, big data and CRM tools, do you have any tips, practical action tips on how we could do that?
Absolutely, Yemi. I'll thank you for this. I love discussing this. And before I get to the tips, let me start with a few jokes. So I can do a whole hour of stand-up comedy on what happens when you start averaging human beings. So here's a couple. Who in the audience knows a family with 2.4 children? Anyone?
Come on, people.
No? Do you know the story of the statistician who had his head in a hot oven and feet in the block of ice, but on the average they felt just fine? No? Try it at home. You'll see what averaging human experience means. But so what I mean is you cannot average human experience. We're talking to Yemi's question about data. So when you only rely on numbers, you think of customers as just numbers, but customers aren't numbers, right? And so to the point of really, you need to balance that with understanding of customers as human beings and as individuals. I'll give you one example which goes to the heart of loyalty and to the heart of encouraging people to shop more frequently, because usually loyalty programs are about increasing shopping frequency, right? Yep. So I'll give you an example from Zappos. the executives and the operations people looked at the behavior of Zappos customers on paper in the spreadsheets as numbers, and they noticed that a lot of women would shop on Zappos but only buy for their children and not for themselves, right? And we have a lot of product for men, women, children, everybody.
And do you get those insights by reviewing the data, or how are you getting those insights in terms of practical? How do you go from all this data to actual insights?
Exactly. So the first urge was to say, let's send an email, which is an integral part of loyalty programs. Let's send an email. Let's incentivize women to shop for themselves too. But what we did instead was we went and talked to several families, several women in their homes. And when we interviewed women, we heard the same thing over and over again, which was, when I was single, I love shopping, I love fashion. When I was single, I would shop a lot for myself. But now that I have children, everything goes for the children. And I feel guilty when I shop for myself. So we discovered this concept called mommy guilt. And you now understand how important that is for how we communicate with our customers. Sending an email saying, well, we saw that you shop for your kids, why don't you shop for yourself, will be very tone deaf.
Yeah.
But when you understand the customer as a human being, as an individual, then you can tailor the programs. Then this information can go to marketing, it can go to loyalty. Then personalization would be much more meaningful than just this spray and pray approach.
That makes sense. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. So, Dr. Pierre, from a technical perspective, loyalty seems to be very data heavy, right? So personalizing requires taking lots of data from people.
Yes.
How do you make sure that you stay compliant with the law in all of this? How do you make sure it's not intrusive? Where's the space for data protection and privacy in all of this?
Exactly. Well, as mentioned, I'm from Germany, and in Germany, we have really tough laws. I mean, if you can cope with those laws in Germany regarding data protection, I think you can cope with all the laws in all the world. Now, what we do is, I mean, I can give you an example. When we onboard a customer, an end user, a consumer, we do not take any data from that customer. How do we onboard? We want to, well, our aim is to facilitate that process, because normally the average customer is registered with multiple loyalty programs. At the end of the day, you don't even remember which ones you have. And most of them, you are forced to provide your personal data. What we do here is, we were thinking, how can we solve that problem in a very straightforward and very convenient manner? That means we only take the telephone number from the customer. We have a wallet, we have you can consider that as a kind of shopping mall app, which is technically speaking a wallet. And we onboard customers simply by taking their telephone number. And this is absolutely sufficient. This is not only more convenient for the customer, but at the end of the day, we get all the data we need. So what data is actually important? We are looking at the transactions. Our solution is based on blockchain technology, and it's a distributed ledger. So those who know how this works, one feature is that we have a kind of transparency. We can see what's happening on the blockchain. Everybody can see what's happening on the blockchain. And the main advantage here is you can make use of the data and at the same time remain anonymous. That means you don't have any information, any personal information of the customer, and you don't even need that. That is absolutely sufficient. We also apply AI here, but we do not apply, it's not even necessary. Everybody is talking about generative AI and large language models. You don't need that. Really don't need that here. We apply simple machine learning. We've been doing this for many years in other use cases, and this works perfectly. So, yeah, that's how we comply to the law. Yeah.
Interesting. Just to clarify, so you take just the mobile number, and over time you build a relationship with the customer. You get more data. about the customer's history? Is that how you do it? Or are you saying the mobile phone is sufficient?
Actually, we ourselves, as the solution provider, we don't do anything with the data. The one who uses the data, the data is interesting for the retailers. The retailers. So imagine the scenario, you have a large shopping mall, for instance, in the Dubai Mall. You have like 1,500 shops there. All those shops are integrated with would be integrated with our loyalty program. And we give the retailers the option when using our solution that they can actually make use of this data. They know exactly, they can see who redeemed how much gift cards and coupons on which day. So this is really important information for marketing, and they also have the opportunity, the possibility to reach the customers directly from there to the wallet, because they're connected through the wallet. It's a distributed ledger solution, and the wallet is also connected to the ledger. So we make processes, and they always asked us many times, why the heck do you use blockchain technology? Why? So I was used to answering this question quite complex, but now I only say one sentence. We make complex processes simple. That's the reason why we use blockchain.
Interesting. No, thank you for sharing that. Let's switch gears a bit. I know Zappos operates mainly in the US markets, right? But most fintechs kind of have a global operation. Do you see any nuances in loyalty and how customers behave from a geographical difference perspective, or is it very similar? When you're designing a loyalty program, do you take into account any kind of geographical nuance or cultural nuances?
So let me approach this question this way. So Zappos is indeed only US based. I envy people that work for global organizations that can do research across cultures, right? Cross-cultural research, and to me is absolutely fascinating. But I'll go back to the psychology of consumers, which there's a lot of similarities, I think, across cultures. And I want to talk about this concept of consumer trust, because I think, Yemi, your question, the previous question about data privacy and data security, and then also what Pierre was talking about in terms of what information you gather, boils down to consumer trust. And you read between the lines when people talk about it's so hard for businesses to collect personal information. So they have to concoct these loyalty programs to collect personal information, right? Why is that? To me, the root cause of this is that customers have lost trust in business, and they have lost trust in retailers, right? If you think about that, we've been doing research at Zappos, and we ask a very specific question about trust, which was developed by Fred Reichel, the creator of the Net Promoter Score. And it's a very simple statement, but it's very profound, which is retailers always have my best interest as a customer in mind. And we measure from 0 to 10. People agree 0 is not at all, to 10 completely agree. We compute a net score. We take the percentage of people who give 9 and 10 and subtract the percentage of people who give 0 to 6. So the net score can vary from -100 to +100. In the US, I can speak about consumers in the US. What do you think the net score is in terms of trust? Any guesses from the audience?
Come on, people, a guess.
Actually,
I've got a question.
Anyway,
Does anybody
we can't hear you, but it's -60. It's really dismal, right? So people are saying retailers don't have my best interest as a customer in mind. And when you ask them why, they say because they're after profit, 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 profit. And it's not blaming anyone. That's how the system is set up. You know, you have to deliver numbers every quarter. But the problem is that now customers are very weary about giving the information on several levels. One is data privacy and security, right? Data breaches, right? Is the retailer's system secure? So blockchain in this respect, right, solves an important problem in terms of security. So that's solved. So Zappos is part of Amazon. It's an Amazon subsidiary. as part of Amazon, data privacy and security is of utmost importance. It trumps absolutely everything. But once you go over that hurdle, then customers still don't want to give us their data. Why? Because we use it for our own purposes, to sell them more, right? To sell them more stuff. And so the question is, where's the balance between looking after for your bottom line and looking for the customer's best interest? And I think that's relevant to our conversation about loyalty programs, because if it's a program that's engineered to incentivize people to shop more, right? And then people use gamification and so on, then it may feel manipulative, right? You manipulate your customers to give their data so you can sell them more stuff. I think it's important for us to discuss and to see, to say, how can you develop a program where it's a bit more balanced? So as soon as you collect information from customers, can you provide them some kind of value back right away?
So is that how you're solving the problem at Zappos? Because that's a very interesting point you raised. Like, so how do you find the balance between giving value and raising profitability?
Exactly. So I think we start with the realization that some customers want to be anonymous, and others want us to use, they trust us and want us to use the information. And I think
and how do you tell the difference? How do you know which ones want you to use the information?
Well, at this point, it's just based on our research, but I think what we have in discussions and what's in planning is to start with some sort of explicit question or explicit agreement. Yes, you can use my data to personalize the experience to me. Or some people may say, leave me alone. I don't want to. Some people are looking for the way to log out. You know, they log in, and then on a voice of the customer program, they say, where's the log out button? Right? So this is the depths of issues with trust.
Interesting, thank you. Did you want to add anything to that, Pierre?
Sorry.
Did you want to add anything to that point? Or no, I can go on to something else.
Well, I actually subscribe to what Alex was just talking about. And I would also like to add another aspect. I think there is also there are also the cultural differences of different countries, different customer groups. Some of them might have less a problem to provide their data, while in other countries, such as in Germany, people are very sensitive regarding the sharing of their own data. It's always, you always discuss these things, and this takes too long. This is also the reason, or one of the reasons, why innovations take so long to get to the market. In Germany and probably also in other European countries. I think in Italy it's maybe a bit more easier, more straightforward. They have less problem. But in order, I would also like to say what we have to keep in mind in order to establish a successful embedded loyalty solution, you have to go beyond what is currently the state of the art, what is existing, right? So currently, what is the state of the art? You have like, you have incentives, typical incentives such as loyalty points, rewards, and then you can redeem them somewhere. But I think if you want to be successful, you have to go beyond that. You have to think of new ways. What can technology provide? I mean, I'm a technology guy. And I really believe in technology, but I think we have to see both sides. It's important to see both sides. Technology can provide a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, you have to listen to the customer. It's important to listen to the customer because you can learn a lot. Because this is the way we were able to develop our solution. Yeah. So yeah, that's my complimentary comment.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So guys, I've got two more questions for the panelists. I'm going to open up the floor. Before I do that, actually, I've got a question. Is anybody here part of an airline loyalty program? Like, are you actively collecting? Thank you so much. I see one hand. Anybody else?
No one
actively collecting. Oh, I see another hand. Thank you. And does that sway your decision on where you fly? Do you kind of go like convoluted routes? There you go. Sorry, got some good. So that leads me on to the next question, right? Is this program seemed quite expensive to implement, right? Because they're very data heavy. You're having to become a bit of a scientist to read the data to get insights out of it. How do you justify to your management or create a business case? Or what kind of metrics can you look at to see if this is successful? I know you mentioned Net Promoter Score already, Alex. Is there anything else when you're thinking of setting up a program? How can we make sure, how can we test to make sure this is successful or worth our while? Who wants to go first?
Well, what I can say to answer that question is metrics. I mean, I can only talk about what I have experienced. Metrics would be, for instance, which is actually very, very convenient because since distributed ledger technologies, you see all the transactions. The number of transactions on the ledger is a metric, is definitely a metric. So from that, we can derive information such as how many active customers are there. I mean, we can talk about also the number of downloaded wallets, but this information is actually incomplete. This means nothing because you don't really know how many of these customers are actually active or not. Yeah, so
do you
lots
have
of them
a
are
test
passive.
group as well? Because I imagine you want to do it before and after. So with the program and without the program, because the objective is to see how effective the program is. So in terms of like testing the effectiveness of a loyalty program, have you got any suggestions of how you will do that?
Well, we usually have the approach that we start with the proof of concept. We start with the proof of concept to see how our loyalty solution is tailored to the needs of the customer. And in that way, we can see if everything is like working smoothly regarding and that's the way we pursue that approach, right?
Makes sense. Thank you for sharing. Alex, anything you want to add? Alex's mic.
Hello, yep. I want to go back to something Pierre said, which was pretty profound, which is the current status quo is that everybody has a loyalty program. So I personally don't think it's, at least at Zappos, it wasn't a matter of convincing anyone. The executives mandated we have a loyalty program. We've had a loyalty program for a long time. All competitors have a loyalty program. So to me, it's not so much convincing. Maybe there's other sectors or there are other companies that have to convince executives to have a loyalty program. But to me, the actual question, the real question is, what can you do differently in order to have a loyalty program that creates real loyalty, not just people collecting points to get discounts.
That's the point exactly. So how do you make sure it's not a Me Too loyalty program, right? It's like we're doing it because everybody else is doing it. How do you make sure the program is effective?
So to me, that's the secret is really not that it's not rocket science. It's balancing, looking at the data, at the numbers, with looking at human beings, customers as individuals, understanding their mindsets. So understanding, for example, that for some people, non-monetary rewards are more important than monetary rewards, right? So, some kind of emotional reward, donating to your charity of choice, for example, making you feel valued, making you feel special. For some people, maybe much more important than collecting a few dollars, right? I mean, there are loyalty programs, for example, that they disregard all these principles to the point of being laughable. I'll give you an example. There's a sandwich chain in the U.S. called Jimmy John's, and we're part of the loyalty program. One time we earned a reward which was a pickle. One pickle was the reward for. I mean, this was, and you're laughing.
From a business perspective, how would I know that? I think you mentioned Net Promoter Score as a metric. Anything else?
I would say real business KPIs. Net Promoter is how people feel about you, but then you look at frequency of shopping. Anything that the business really cares about, you need to track, and you need to Pierre's point, experiment and have A/B testing and really show that this cohort that participates in loyalty is much more profitable to the company and much more loyal than a cohort that doesn't participate.
Makes sense. Thank you. Do you want to add something?
Maybe one last sentence to complement that, what Alex just said. For us, it's very practical. It's very straightforward. We look at the number of redeemed gift cards per year or redeemed coupons per year. Very simple. Everybody can understand that. So take them all. Everything between 50,000 and 1 million gift cards per year is good. And it's normal, yeah?
Thank you. Thank you. That's very practical. Thank you so much. I said two, but I'm just going to open up the floor now because I think we're going to run out of time. Does anybody have any questions, please? Questions? ML points, gift cards, data privacy? Did I say hand up? Yeah, perfect. I've got one question. Thank you. It just takes one person to speak up first and hopefully opens up the floor. Please say your name, sir, please, and then your question. Thank you.
My name is Venkatesh.
I can't hear you. Is it on?
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Yeah, my name is Venkatesh. The point is, what I want to ask is, you have the loyalty program, and again, you have a loyalty program where you look at the retaining
Would
the
you
customer.
mind moving closer a bit? Because like the mic is
Okay.
hard.
Do you also look into the data of customer churning and other thing, or only the loyalty program for retention of the
Perfect.
customer?
Thank you so much. What's your name, sir?
Venkatesh.
Vikesh. So
Can you repeat the question? Because
Yeah.
I didn't get the last part.
yeah, no, the question was, do you also look at churn? Are you just looking at retention, or do you also consider churn as part of looking at the effectiveness of a program? Do you consider the churn rate of the customer? Churn, like how many customers you lose on a regular basis? Are you looking at just retention or just also the loss rate of customers? Is that correct?
Of course, this is also a very important metric, but currently not relevant to us. Why? I mean, it's relevant in general, but not relevant to us, because we are at this time we are onboarding the first customers in Germany. So this means we have to get there. At a later stage, yes, I absolutely agree with you. That is also an important metric to look at, definitely.
Alex?
Yeah, I'll just add something and a clarification. I heard a very interesting point of view about churn, which is everybody's talking about churn, but it's actually a much more relevant metric in B2B relationships. When you sign a contract 1 year and then you don't sign the contract the next year, and then you are lost. But in terms of retailers, where customers have many choices and they shop from many retailers, that concept is not that relevant. So we've had customers at Zappos that haven't shopped in a while, 2 years, 3 years. They were tagged in the database as lost customers, quote unquote. When we did survey with them, in their minds, they were not lost to us. They continued to shop with Zappos, and they even wrongly remembered having shopped at Zappos. So I think that concept of churn, you have to be very careful what you mean by it.
All right, so I think that was all we had time for. Just let's go quick fire round question. So in terms of keeping in touch with yourselves, what would you recommend is the best way to keep up with your work? Alex, if people wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
LinkedIn is the best way.
Thank you, LinkedIn.
Thank you.
And then Dr. Pierre?
For me as well, LinkedIn.
Amazing. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being a wonderful audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yemi, for a great panel. Well done. Good. 1 minute, and we'll be straight back, looking at back to the theme of deep technology and AI. We've got Janet with us, who's going to talk about the intersection between AI and the crypto DeFi world. So some really inspiring conversations coming up around the role of AI in this new emerging financial services marketplace.